And it helps if I have the fucking volume on. I'm telling you, I need a producer. Okay, I'm not going to repeat myself because it wasn't really that important, but this is just the stuff that we were working on in the garage. So we're going to prime this. This gets in all the nooks and crannies. And that's why I use that, and it comes in a tremendous amount. How many milliliters this is? 200? Yeah. 6.7, it looks like a lot more than 6 ounces. Like, I'm not asking for a 6-ounce Coke. That's way too small. And once we get this stuff painted, it'll look better. Right now, this thing is like all over the place with a bunch of multitude colors. Multitude of different colors in there. Yeah, we got some splash on there. This stuff is pretty, I'd say watery, but that's not the correct word. Because it's not water. It's got some polyurethane properties to it. And you don't ever run across something in it and the bubbles pop. And we do with paint, when a bubble pops, and then you don't have paint because it was in a bubble. That doesn't happen with this stuff. I primed for the longest time with Model Master Acryl Black. And they discontinued it. I'm like, well, what am I going to have to use now? There's so many products that I used to use and I don't use them anymore because the manufacturer of the said product was like, nah, we don't want to produce that anymore. I said, well, I guess you'll lose me as a customer. You know? That's one of the important things about being a customer is they have to have products for you to buy. If they don't have products for you to buy, you can't really be their customer. Let's go to the smaller one. And the lighting is... And this is why I'm working on multiple vehicles. I'm working on multiple vehicles because, you know, if I was to wash these, like, okay, I got to step away from them. There's nothing I can do while that wash is drying. And there may still not be anything I can do, but at least there's an opportunity to do some other stuff. Meaning, you know, I could go wash that, come back to this, and then, oh, it's still wet. I still can't do anything with it. So this old epoxy, which looks like it was taking a while to dry, to set, ended up working just fine. So even though somehow some of it dried, the actual epoxy itself, the resin, definitely got thicker. Airbrushing a new project. What airbrush do you have? And I don't mean that to convert you. I'm sure what you're using is fine. That's what I was doing a little while ago. I think it went really well. I like to think every time I use the airbrush, I get a little bit better at it. I certainly get better at cleaning it and clearing jams. I normally would have taken this thing apart, like I said, if it wasn't metal on metal. That's a pain. Thanks for letting me know you're here, man. I appreciate it. I tell people that. It's like, we don't, if you're doing something, you don't need to keep texting me back and forth because that interrupts your flow of whatever it is you're doing. But let me know, hey, I'm out here, so I'm like, at least I can talk. If I know there's nobody there, I have no way of telling who it is. And if I know that there's, I don't know, bots listening, I may decide to stop the feed, and it's actually might be something that's helping you guys entertain you. So let me know you're there. If you let me know when you leave, and that just kind of helps, us kick ass together, I was having breakfast, and I decided to watch a video on a channel I'm subscribed to that has nothing to do with hobbies. It has to do with music, and it's just informational kind of stuff. And it was a video that was talking about banned, songs that got into trouble being banned or whatever. So I listened to it. It was about 30 minutes long or something like that. And this guy who's, has a lot of subscribers. I think he's got like 5 million subscribers or something like that. Stuff that I'm never going to have. That's fine. I don't have something that appeals to everybody. But I've never seen something like this. In this particular video, he mentioned several times words he couldn't say and didn't say them. And they're not words that I don't say, and I don't know why he was so worried about not being able to say them. Maybe he can say them, they just have repercussions to his monetary income he's not willing to do with. And that's probably what it is, because none of it was particularly bad. He wasn't insulting anybody directly. There's a lot worse things I see on the internet, and those channels aren't banned. So I don't know, maybe he just didn't want it to affect his income stream. Because I'll pretty much say anything. I don't care, The same way you're listening to this to stay on track, I'm talking about this and having you listen to me to stay on track. Weathering a loco. The last time I did that, I didn't do a very good job. Of course, it was probably like 1991. I discovered this paint. Discovered it. I got into it for the first time, called Tamiya Smoke. And was basically just like a lawn oil wash, but really thick, Tamiya. So, Tamiya paint, at least at the time, was all right. I mean, I know there's people that still use it, but it's one of those paints, if you paint something, and once you paint it, you need to leave it alone, because it starts getting tacky. And once it gets tacky, all kinds of weird stuff happens. And I weathered a loco. I weathered a Union Pacific GP7. God, if that's a real engine, I know I've forgotten somebody's birthday. Because that's how that works. I'm out of RAM, so GP7 engine. Yep. It's got EMD GP7. Yeah, and it didn't turn out really well. Yeah, I could do an infinitely better job now. Infinitely better job. Yeah, I actually wanted to see if there was a railroad show this weekend. I want to go to. I want to buy some buildings. I want to buy some buildings that I can use for my games. I want to buy them cheap. I don't want to buy them because you'll be something like there's one particular building. We talk about railroad. We can talk about railroad stuff. I believe it's called Model Power, and it's a pickle factory. And I wanted to get it, and it's been out forever. This thing right here. this thing. It's a cool building. It says it retails for $20. That's pretty reasonable. Yeah. I wanted to get this for my my Africa project. Yeah, which I don't know that I'm ever going to get to, but um, I want to pick, I want to pick something like that if somebody doesn't want for like $5, something. I don't want to pay $20 for it. Like $20 isn't. I was talking about it yesterday. I need to be enticed to buy things. Like I don't need anything, fortunately, right? So for me to spend money, it's got to be like something like I better buy this now because it's not available or it's at a price that I'm never going to see again, kind of thing. So there was a guy that was actually selling railroad buildings for $5 a piece. They were already built. They needed to be redone, but I didn't buy any at the last show because I was already buying too many things. I don't want to get into this point where I have too much stuff, and when I have too much stuff, I get like analysis paralysis. I don't know what to work on next. It's almost like you got too many choices. All right, the more of this stuff that I'm painting and priming, the better this is going to look. Because then you're just going to have the body of the truck and black. And obviously, it's not going to stay black, but it keeps you from, going all over the place. Mentally, anyways. And it's not going to stay black. It'll be, metal. I'm probably going to have white paint over it. I haven't used an airbrush to weather things. I thought for sure that's one of the things I would use it for, and I'm not so sure that I am. I'm infinitely more competent with dry brushing. Although airbrushing this morning worked really, it turned. I felt like I was in control the whole time. So. Airbrushing though, sink or swim. You'll either get it eventually, or you're gonna put it down and not use it. So the only reason I even got into airbrushing to begin with is I don't want to use rattle cans. Lee, do you do any wargaming at all, or is it just pretty much trains? And I don't know how trains are these days, but it seems like trains, like the people, there's a mean age of people that war game, right? And then there's a mean age of people that historical war game, which I think is about 10 years older than I am. My age or 10 years older. I'm definitely on the young side of historical gaming. And then there's people that build models, and I'm definitely on the low side of people that build models. And then people that do trains, it just seems people that do trains are much older than any of those other groups. Now, I don't mean I have a problem with old people, because I've always been the youngest one in the group. Maybe not now anymore, but yeah, the people that I war game with, only Luke is younger than me. Mitch is older than I am. Everybody else is older than I am. Not significantly older, but they're older. But the crowd that does the model railroading seem like they're really old. And it's not how old you are, it's how old you act. Like I know some people that are older, they don't really act older. Oh, they're really irresponsible. Well, that might be the case, but not the case in these individuals. You know, it's not that I have a problem with older people. I just don't want a game with people that don't have chispa, that don't have, I don't want to say fire in them, but that don't have enthusiasm. I like to play with people that are enthusiastic. I don't care how old they are, you know? I mean, I'll be 55 in a few months, and I don't feel like it. I feel like I'm, I feel like I'm 25 with a metabolism of a 60-year-old. You do paint Warhammer. I've never played Warhammer. But Warhammer did have an influence on me. The whole reason I prime in black is because of Warhammer. And Warhammer, the what they promote now may not be priming in black, but that heavy metal painting guide from 1993 that I looked over, and that's kind of the first thing that got me into doing layering, was influential for that. I gotta remember to call it layering. I, for the longest time, called it blending. I'm not blending on it. I'm blending a color and then putting on a layer, and then adding more, blending it, and putting on a different layer. You know, you're building a new PC as well at the moment. I wouldn't even know what to do there. I have a problem with anything that could possibly bring me discomfort while I'm at home. So I try not to take things on that's going to be like, I could really fuck myself by doing this. I try not to do that at home. I have just so many problems at work, and they're not caused by myself, that I really don't want to cause any problems for myself at home. Does that make sense? When I bought this computer, I bought one that was all together. Right? It was a certain model. I can never remember what the hell it's called. A book note 2, a something 2, a Surface 2. I don't think it's a Surface. I think it's a book. And they don't make it anymore. So I don't want to get this part and get that part. And it's been solid, But like that Windows 11 upgrade, I'm not upgrading it to Windows 11. Ever. I'm not going to. Because the risk of it not working properly like it is now is not worth it. I don't surf with it or anything. The only thing I connect it to the internet is if I'm playing a game with somebody through Steam or filming these videos. I don't really surf with it. So I had an iPad that took that was executed in the 64-bit apocalypse, and I lost lots of games for it, and it didn't ever work, and I basically didn't touch it again because I got an upgrade that I, in retrospect, shouldn't have gotten. And I'm just not going to allow myself to be screwed that way if I can avoid it. That's a good way to do it. I don't like to... I have so many problems at work. that I have to solve. I am not willing to create problems for myself at home. Because I'm not getting paid for dealing with problems here. So I'm not in the comfort zone with that technology stuff because, you may do that for a living, right? So you get to practice on stuff all day long, but, I don't do technology stuff for a living, so it's like overwhelming. Every time I've bought a computer, it's almost like, all right, let's watch it from square one. And now it's better than it ever has been because you can go and, what's up, Justin? You can go on YouTube and I wonder if this computer's any good. So go watch somebody's review of it. And at least it allows you to, you may not agree with that person's opinion, but at least it's something to consider. And I don't think I'll ever have a desktop again. It takes too much space. This is just, it's a laptop and I got it up off the table. It's jacked up and, it's not that heavy. And, if I wanted, the other day, I was going to work on a couple weeks ago, I was working on the sheets for a lot of my vehicles because I got 60 vehicles, but not all the sheets done. I think I got them all done except the ones I've done in the last 2 weeks. The wife was working on cooking something, I think. I think that's what it was. So I took the laptop and I went over to the counter of unusual size. And I buy no work PC and fix them. Oh, you buy PCs that don't work and you fix them. Well, that's a good skill. I don't want to get into that. That stuff's frustrating. I get frustrated by electronic shit. Where something works, or something doesn't work. You fix it, it works, and the next time it doesn't work again. My brain's not wired for that. We're not all wired for the same stuff. I'm wired for doing artsy shit, not getting lost. What else? That may be it. Critical path stuff. I'm really good at critical path stuff. You're not good at critical path, that you waste your time. I value my time, so. Yeah, so if you got a PC, it doesn't work, you probably get it really cheap, so your risk is probably really low. I could see that. The only thing I don't like is there's just so much. I got a little bit of primer here that we could just take some hand sanitizer and get rid of it. But there's going to be a lot of mud on this thing. A lot. You're not good with computers. I'm more of outdoor stuff. What things outdoors are you not good at? But you weren't here when I said this, Justin. And I just this dawned on me. I just hey, I'm figuring myself out on my own show. I don't like to do anything at home that could intentionally cause me trouble. I go through so much stuff I have to fix at work that other people do that I don't want to bring that shit onto myself at home. But I guess I'm not that unhandy because I've done stuff to my car. But there's also a video of how to do it, so you can assess how much risk you're willing to take. My car didn't have fog lights, so I got fog lights, and I probably saved. I certainly saved $500, maybe more. And it was empowering because I did it. So. Outdoor stuff. I don't do any outdoor stuff. I don't even mow lawn anymore. Used to. Lawn got too big. I'm not buying a riding lawnmower. Riding lawnmower costs almost $1,000. Then where are you going to put it? No, I'm sorry, not $1,000. Multiple grand. Nope. Nope. I'm not good with technology, but gardening and being outside is my realm. Nobody in this family can grow anything. Everything we grow, it dies. We don't have that gene. We don't grow shit. The other thing, I'm not particularly unhandy. I don't know anybody that is as bad at finding studs as I am. And I'm telling you, I'm fucking patient too. They don't fucking work. There must be some kind of like electromagnetic thing in my fucking head that just drives the stud finder thing crazy. I even got the tools. Can't use them. Studs aren't where they're supposed to be. You know. I absolutely hate doing. Definitely one of the things I'm the worst at. Painting shit, brilliant. Finding studs, forget it. Can't do it. Haven't really tried other carpentry stuff. I mean, I did it in school. It wasn't particularly bad. Finding studs, call somebody else. I am not your guy. The last time I did it was to hang this. Still didn't do it right. Actually, no. This was to use those little what do they call when you put it in drywall? It has the expanders. Fuck that. I'm never using them again. I didn't make a mess, but I'm like, all right, let me watch a video how they suggest to put this thing on there. I followed exactly to the T. Didn't fucking work. Like, fuck that. We're putting the drywall screws that you can hang an elephant from them. No, never going to happen. I was going to do that to begin with. Like, no, let's try to do it the way it's suggested. No. You guys can do it however the hell you want in China. I'm not doing it that way. I'm using drywall screws. The drywall screws are fucking awesome. You know which ones I'm talking about. They're like this color and they're almost like sharp. And they just, everything grabs. No, but that's okay. It's all right to not be, I can't be the best at everything. It's okay to know your limitations. Outside, what other outside stuff is? Camping, I'm never going camping again, ever. Sorry, Boy Scouts ruined it. It's different than the Boy Scouts, I don't know, but no. No. And, maybe, where you go camping is nice. Camping in Florida, you got to be, like, sadistic. Something's got to be wrong with you to go camping in Florida. All the bugs and shit, no. No. But that's good, because my wife wouldn't want to go camping either. The only outdoors thing that's actually okay, but I don't have any experience with, is fishing. I didn't have a dad that took me fishing. Never really wanted to. The father-in-law took me a couple times, and the only problem with fishing is I don't like fishing not off a boat, because fishing goes with drinking beer. And I don't mean I'm going to have a six-pack. I'm going to have 2 fucking beers, right? I'm not going to have more than 1 beer an hour. I'm not going to fish without having beer. It's just part of the experience, right? It's like dancing. I'm not going to go dancing sober. Like if I'm going to go with a wife, hey, let's go dancing. We're not going dancing sober, right? We're going to have some alcohol. I don't want to fish and not have a beer. And I don't really know anything about fishing. You got to set it all up for me. And then I get back into it, and it's enjoyable. If they're biting, it's enjoyable. But it's not something that I'm going to do on my own, because it's like, I don't want to do it bad enough. And, I could find that out with YouTube and doing it. It's not something I want to do bad enough. The only thing outdoors that I would do that that I would be game for is, and I was doing this a couple years ago. We got some mountain bikes, and not doing super heavy mountain bike stuff, but I biked my whole life for transportation. So you have that in you. And there's this trail that's not far from here that's really big. And they say it's challenging. I don't think it's challenging, but anyhow. I've gone out there, and I've went out there several times, and I think the last time I was out there like 5 hours or something like that. and you don't run into a soul. It's not. I wouldn't say it's dangerous with animals or anything like that. I mean, they got gators and there's snakes, but I'm not scared of that stuff. You know. And there's stuff like way back in the back, but you got your little bag with you, and you got your friend that you keep in the bag with a lot of, in case something goes sideways, right? And I had a good time. I stopped going there because there was a rash of break-ins. And this was not, if I showed you a picture of the parking lot, you'd be like, really? This is happening here? It's not in a crime area. People were breaking into people's cars. And I'm like, you know what? I don't need my fucking car broken into. So I stopped doing it. I haven't gone in about a year. But I found another place that I may try and do that. But I'm like, I don't need my car damaged just to go ride, a bike. And it's too far to ride from here to there. It's not too far. There's like traffic. I'm not riding a bike in traffic. The only other thing I really enjoy is I do like kayaking, and I've considered getting a rack for the car. The problem with that is I don't think I'd use it that often, and I don't really want to take up space in the garage to put a kayak. And man, kayaks are all over the place at prices. You can get one for like under $200 to like thousands. Like, all right, well, I mean, there's same thing like airbrushes. You can get a $15 airbrush, or you can get one that's $1,500. I'm like, all right, but we do go kayaking at least a couple times a year, and we have a good time. That's okay, You love camping, no bugs. No, you wouldn't like camping here. Yeah, I have a ride-on lawnmower. I cut 2.2 acres, but half of your lawn is trees and pines without grass. Yeah, I would totally mow my own lawn. I always have. I don't like paying somebody to do it, but that's why I don't pay them. I don't even want to know what it costs, because it would just. But I'd have to spend multiple $1,000s for. The people next door are lawn addicts, right? So every other weekend, they spend the whole weekend working on their yard, on one of the days. I'm like, I don't want to give up 25. I don't want to give up half of my weekend every other weekend to do that shit. Because it's not like it's enjoyable while you're doing it. I don't find it enjoyable. It's something that needs to be done. I mean, the only enjoyable thing is like, you're not paying somebody, you're getting some exercise, and you're listening to either music that you like or Audible or something, a podcast, something like that. But the rest of it, that's for the birds. Hot, but the real reason I'm not doing it is, it's riding lawnmowers are super expensive. You can't use a push one. I have an acre. It would take me, hours to do it, So the wife pays them. I don't know. I don't want to know about it. I don't want to know about it. But I've never been above mowing my own lawn. I've always have done it. You start becoming an adult, and there's things you can't do for yourself anymore, like taxes. I've always done my own taxes. Can't do them this year. It's too fucking complicated. My wife's got all kinds of special situations happening with odd jobs that she's doing. It's like, it's too fucking complicated. You don't care how your lawn looks. Well, you couldn't live here. It'd be a problem. It'd be a problem. You don't have like a bunch of like stuff in your yard, right? Like, I know somebody at work, and they were showing me like, hey, let's go see where you live. And they showed me their house above on Google Earth. And I'm like, that's cool. What's this next to you? So what are you talking about? I said, well, there's this, it looks like a junkyard that has these piles. I wish I could find it on the, I don't remember where he lives. But these piles of washing machine, tractor kind of stuff. Like it's almost like a grid pattern. Like, they're expecting some kind of, you know, invasion, and they need like piles of trash to hide around. And apparently somebody that lives next door to them that never throws trash away. I'm like, yeah, I couldn't live next to that. I want to be in an environment that's messy, man. That fucks with my psyche. I don't do well with typical gamer houses. Need more order than that, man. It's bad enough. I was at the painting desk. I'm like, where the hell did I put the needle? I was distracted by so much stuff there, and that's just in a little area that's like that. You don't care how your lawn looks. Well, I'm sure your neighbors appreciate it. Well, maybe they look theirs is the same way. Yeah, I know what you mean. You're not like a Nazi about fertilizing it and stuff like that. Yeah, that's kind of a waste too. We had a this Facebook group. I know you don't do Facebook. We have this Facebook group, and they have them for all places, for like the communities that we live in. Like we have one that's for our neighborhood, and we have one for the couple little towns that are here, that kind of stuff. And you always get these people that are mouthy. They love they love building hills out of dog shit to die on, right? And there was this thing about lawns and how people were, because there was a there's a drought. I don't know if it's still a drought, but there was a drought because it hadn't rained, and I mean it rained last week, but it hadn't rained in, I swear, a couple months, a while. About people watering their lawns, and there's comment was something along the lines of, you should only be doing it once a week or something like that. And some earthy bitch said you should just let your lawn die, and then plant stuff that just looks, sort of like. And I looked at her profile, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to take advice from somebody that's never shaved their armpits. Like, no, no. So you, you have to go through extreme too. You go over to the extreme earthy part of town, and there's, where all the protest signs. They want to protest everything except, including taking a shower. And yeah, their houses are completely overgrown with like weeds. Like, you can't have that. You live in a rural area on a dirt road. People out by me are a little laid back. Well, you say you don't care what your lawn looks like, but you are mowing it. It's not like you're that one guy that never mows his lawn. Mitch in his neighborhood has, I'd say, a third of the people in his neighborhood never mow their lawn. I couldn't live in that neighborhood. Other than, bringing property values down. Who wants to look at that? Who wants to look at, like, you know, the earth taking over? Because I'm telling you, I live on a suburbia road. Okay, it's in the country, but it's a suburban looking neighborhood, and with a paved road and everything. And if the rapture happened, but if the rapture happened, or something like that, if people disappeared, in 20 years there'd be no asphalt on the road. The grass from both sides would cover it. So you got to keep fighting back. I don't know how it is in Michigan, but here in Florida, it would just take over. It would just swallow every. If people disappeared, it would just, you wouldn't be able to see civilization. I exaggerate a little bit, but you know what I'm talking about. It's just you're constantly fighting it. So. And the other neighborhood we lived in had a lot more restrictions on it. The other neighborhood, you couldn't work on cars and stuff. There was this one guy who had a car full of. The thing is, not that you can't work on cars, you can't, like, have fun, a fucking disorderly thing, Like, if you're working on your own car in your own property, that's fine. But if you got, like, 7 or 8 cars and they're on blocks, and, like, you can't have that shit, We don't have a blight ordinance township. Like, we don't have to said we don't have to cut our grass, we just have to have it from the house 10 feet out for the fire department. So you have somebody near you that never mows their lawn? Man, who wants to go to that? Yeah. I wouldn't want to live on a dirt road. I basically work at a place that is a dirt road. So, I got to take my car to the car wash at least once a week just to keep it from getting out of control. Again, it's something I used to do. I used to wash my own car. But you can if it costs you more money and it takes you a couple hours, and as soon as you're at work for 5 minutes, it's everything you did is trashed. Like, I'm sorry, I value my time too much. So the alternative is you don't wash it at all. Well, that causes problems too. Let's get this all underneath here in black. Okay. This is the one that is going to be called Dirty Cooter. My brother lives in I'd say a fancier neighborhood. Not super fancy, but a fancier neighborhood. Not in town. Lives in a different town. And he has a guy next to him that works on cars. He's got what does he have out there? I think an Integra, something next to him. And the guy's constantly, all day long, you hear, for like an hour. Like, I couldn't live with that. And I don't mean, like constantly. What's nice about dirt road is city people stay out. Yeah, but there's dirt road people you don't want near you. Not all city people suck. A lot of them do. A lot of dirt road people suck. A lot of people suck. You know that. You don't have to tell me. You figured it out. All right. This is all the black stuff on Dirty Cooter painted. All right. So now we can do the wash on Skid Mark Sally and the wash on, what's this guy called? Hillbilly Hacksaw. Okay, so let's get one of these you can use the same one for the wash. Or as you guys would say, the wash. But I know people that live out in the country and they have no privacy. That's the only thing I wish we had here. I wish we had more privacy. I'd say we have probably less privacy here than we did when we lived in the city. It's a little different though. We have people on top of each other, but you can have a fenced-in backyard there you can't hear. It's just one of the things. It's the only gripe. That's pretty good for being the only gripe. All right, strong tone all over. Every place is going to have, downsides to something. Now, I do have the Michigan militia out by me. Do they get in your business? They don't run the Confederate flag out there, do they? The M&Ms, the Michigan militia. I think this color's spot on. I think this is going to be... I think it's going to look good. Wish I would have used other wheels, but... I just used the wheels that it came with. Which look awfully urban. Not you, they don't? No. Not target practicing at midnight or something like that. We haven't had them in a while. Well, we had a couple times when we had helicopters that were flying way too close to the house. I don't like that. Like, get away from my fucking house. So if you go down, they're not going to find you alive. You crash on my house and take out somebody in my house, they're not going to find you alive. All right, we're just going to do a thin coat of this. We still want it to be purple. Sorry, pink. How did I say purple? Speaking of purple, I always wanted one of them 64 or 128 set of crayons. You know what I'm talking about? The one that had the pencil sharp, the crayon sharpener. I never had one of those things. That's for like rich people had those. Rich kids had those in the 80s. I didn't have that. Them rich kids. Actually, rich parents spoiled kids. There we go. Kids didn't have any money either. Okay, that should suffice with that. And we should be able to paint all the parts on Dirty Cooter that aren't black, because it's been clear coated. Right? We did clear coat it. Yeah. Yep. Seems like everywhere I live, both houses I've lived at, there's always a cop that lives next door. Now, I don't have a problem with it as long as they don't want to get in my shit. And honestly, I don't have a problem if they get in my shit. I just don't feel like I need to answer questions when I've done nothing wrong. If that makes any sense. I don't like being questioned. You know, because I'm not up to anything that's wrong. Like, leave me the fuck alone, you know? I never had that either. Would have been cool, though. Yeah. Yeah, whatever. Hey, you can buy one now. Do you want any? No, crayons suck. Well, there you go. I had violent toys, meaning I always had like army men or tanks or, you know, toy guns. Of course, everybody did back then, you know. And our toy guns didn't have freaking orange stoppers at the end of them. They look like real guns. If it doesn't look like a real gun, what's the point? People were different. We didn't have those problems in the 70s and the 80s. I think it's dads. There just aren't any dads anymore. Dads just aren't good examples anymore. They can cook and shit like that, but they're just not good examples. Like, my dad didn't cook shit, right? But wasn't like, well, you know, you could do whatever you want. And you can't do whatever the hell you want. So you're better off having a non-cooking dad that teaches you some responsibility. Old school cap guns. Yeah, man, at Halloween. Yep. Nobody got hurt. You know, when you have toy guns, you don't have to play with real guns. I mean, as a kid, you know? Like, okay, so this looks better just giving it a little bit of a wash. Of course, this isn't what makes it dirty. We're literally going to have mud and shit all over it. Of course, we got to came in a little ring. I had ones that had like the tape. Remember, it was like a tape? And every so often, every half inch or quarter inch, there was a little round spot of powder or whatever the hell it was. We're on absolutely all day on bikes. Yep, all day. Or a big wheel, or what did I have? I had one of those green machines. So I let some kid borrow it and he fucked it up. He broke the fucking pedal. See if I can find a picture of it. That thing was awesome. You could haul ass in that thing. You know, I didn't have rich parents, so I didn't just get another one. Like, I was fucked. I didn't get one. Green machine. Okay, but yeah, show me 1980s version. Here we go. No sound, that's on you, man. I haven't touched anything. You got that militia cutting into your feed. The green machine. Yeah, and you turn it like this. Sound back. I haven't touched a thing, dude. The militia's cutting into you. Cutting into your feed. Oh, man. Does this thing have a wash on it yet? It does. Okay. We gotta get that guy done for... I need to paint this. Where's one of them little grabbers? Here. Your sound went out too? I don't know. I haven't touched... Look, my hands are right here. It's still showing it. I mean, you know, it might be a YouTube issue. I'm not responsible for YouTube. I can't get credit for it being... Yeah. Yeah, it was great until some fucker decided to borrow it and was pedaling and got one of the pedals too close to the curb and snapped the pedal. So I had a full pedal on the left side, but on the right side it didn't have the pedal on it. Like the whole thing was snapped. Done. You know, and eventually, you know, those wheels are hollow. So you eventually, you know, you're running on asphalt, you're going to wear out the wheel, it's going to have a hole in it, you know. You could haul ass on that thing. Yep. Outside all day long. Where'd it go? Oh, here. Did dig holes in the backyard and play with the army men in there, and they get, do trench lines and stuff. I never had a bike with a banana seat on it. Wanted to. All right. Let's put this like that. Let's get the interior of this Thunderbird and make sure we got a good coating of black. It's good enough. It's going to be closed up, so and just a little bit of window frosting on it. Skid Mark Sally. Which one did I have the most? G.I. Joe. I had Transformers, but Transformers were a lot more expensive. And then, I think all my Transformers I had were hand-me-downs. My favorite Transformer was Soundwave. I definitely got that one used. I had a Soundwave, and I had ones that would go three-way Transformers. And I had one, I think, that's called Blitzwing. Blitzwing Transformer. It turned into like a T-62, a MiG-23, and it was like beige and purple. Blitzwing Transformer. I'm telling you, I would love to play. I would love to design. I don't want to play it. I would love to design a Transformers game tabletop like BattleTech with minis. And they make them. And they're way too fucking expensive. Yeah, this thing right here. $19.85. $60. Well, you're trying to sell it for $60. Oh, I had a lot of dinosaurs. I fucking love dinosaurs. Nobody likes dinosaurs more than me. I had a fair amount of G.I. Joes. The 3 3/4 ones. I got some from somebody else. I think I had all of them until 86. Then after that, don't need them anymore. You could play a game with them, I guess, if you had them, but they're too fucking expensive now. Yeah, it's like a T-62 tank. And it had Soundwave. I always wanted to get... What Autobots did I have? I don't fucking remember. Did I have a Jazz? 1980s Transformer Autobots. I didn't have many. I had maybe 6. Maybe. Yeah, I always thought this one was cool. I don't know if it was this exact one, but the one that turned into the Lancia. That was white, green, it had the Italian colors. Is that Jazz? No, Jazz is the Porsche. Jazz is the Porsche. I have to go through there and find out. Yeah, it's a cool toy. You know, if I still had them, you could use these and use them as minis and play a game with them. You know, the game would be serious. It wouldn't be like, you know. But I actually want like miniature so you could like paint them and weather them and stuff. But they still look like that one Transformer video game that's really good. Well, it's not good because it's very linear, but it looks like you're playing the cartoon from the 80s. You want to read for a time, what year you were born? He was born in 78. What about Voltron? Didn't do anything Voltron. Didn't do any Voltron. The only Voltron thing I was really into, and this was like when we lived in Alabama from 77 to 79. I don't remember what year it was. My go-to show I would like was Battle of the Planets. Battle of the Planets was fucking awesome. And that's like the only anime that I've watched. And I think it's like one of the first animes. I never saw a Speed Racer. It's, you know, the Battle of the Planets thing was cool. Was cool. That's right. I said I was going to, at some point I was like, let's make a Battle of the Planets team. Whatever. Nah, I like this offensive. See, this is no longer white anymore. It looks a lot better. Dulling it down a little bit. Yeah, I don't think I ever saw Voltron. I don't think I ever saw it like anywhere. Like a show of it. Voltron was the same thing though, right? It was like multiple people and they condensed to make this big thing. So kind of like what was that Transformer did that? Was it the Constructicons that turned into Devastator or whatever the hell it is? The one that's like Onyo. These two colors? Actually, it's more green than this. More like this. No, between these two. Devastator. Never really been into construction vehicles. Nothing badass about construction vehicles. Sorry, just a tow truck. Mine are, because they got fucking guns on them. Nothing badass about a safety vest. Okay, this guy's still wet. She's still wet. That's what he said. And the Mick-mobile. Well, I guess we could probably paint the weapon on the Mick-mobile. I think I'm gonna eventually glue this down. This is not turreted. It's just this bazooka. Or my version of a bazooka. I'm probably going to paint it this pink color. The mount on the roof certainly needs to be. All right, how do we make this pink? We got the colors. It's this with a little bit of that, and then we can add the metallic properties. Let's fuck with this while we're waiting for some of this stuff to dry. That's why you gotta have different stuff to work on, so you can keep like, I still want to paint, but I can't, you know, because something's drying. Let's go ahead and put this on a little stand. Hoffman, you ever watch any of the Three Kingdoms miniseries that they have? I know there's several of them. There's at least two. I tried to watch them, but since the actors don't necessarily look like the ones on that video game, I have trouble figuring out who's who. But if they look just like the video game, I'm like, all right, and we know who all the cast of characters are. Oh, we know who the main cast of characters are. Although there's two guys that get mixed up. I don't remember what their names are. They're the guys that are the coalition leaders. Crap, I'm not going to look that up. Romance of Three Kingdoms. Man, I tried to play that Romance of Three Kingdoms Total War. Man, that's complicated. Romance of Three Kingdoms video game characters. Character list. There we go. I get Oh, he's not here. I can't think of what his name is. I want to say Wang Shao, and then there's another guy that's like Wang Shao. And they're like coalition leaders before the Three Kingdoms literally split into their own entities. They were like combining like different people from the different kingdoms to fight against the fat fucker, whatever the fat fucker's name is. The fat fucker may have been okay, but in the video game, he's a dick and a half. The one that's got the prince captive. That guy's a fucking dickhead. In the video game. He might be like, he wasn't so bad in real life, but in the video game, is it Gonsuzan? It might be Gonsuzan and Wang Shao. I think that's the two guys that get mixed up. See who's Gonsuzan. Goal, stop Dong Zhuo. Dong Zhuo is the dickhead of the video games. And he might have been okay in real life, a fucking dickhead in the game. There's an old Hong Kong movie called Hua Tao and Sao Sao, and that's probably one of the best historical research movies I've seen. They even get the hairstyles and the mustaches right. I only watched the 94 version. I have a huge box set of it, but that's the only one I will watch. Yeah, my first exposure to the Three Kingdoms was a buddy of mine who had a Nintendo. I did not have a Nintendo. I've never been a Nintendo fan. Never really liked any Nintendo games. Yes, that pretty much goes for all of them. Sega Genesis games? Yeah, there's some of them that were badass. Didn't have one of those either, but anyhow. And it was a Romance of Three Kingdoms game with counters on a Nintendo, whatever the original system's called. Is that the NES? The original one. The original Nintendo one. And, it was a strategy game-ish, and that's all there was. So, like, it's better than nothing. And I played that a bit. It's all about combat and lighting fires and the fires getting out of control, and you had to like get away from the fires kind of thing. Like lighting fires was like a big part of the game, if I remember correctly. And in that game, it was spelled, Sao Sao was spelled, I believe it was spelled the other way. It was spelled in Wade Gillies. Which I don't like the spelling. I like the idea of it not being pinyin, because Pinyin is the commie one. But I don't like the apostrophes in the middle of the names, if that makes sense. I don't like the Chinese names with apostrophes broken down. It just looks weird. It looks weird. So I do like the idea that it's Wade Gillies is Mandarin as opposed to whatever the other one's called. The Mandarin, whatever I don't know. I don't know what that shit. You know what I'm talking about. Sao Sao. You fuck up now, Sao Sao on the way. That was my first exposure. And then I had an Xbox that, well, I still do. And I was like, let me play some fighting. I rented a fighting game or something like that. And it was one of I want to say it's Romance of the Three Kingdoms 3. Did I just fucking nail this on the head? Almost. What's it need? Darker. Okay. I'm pretty good at this color matching thing. Oh, it helps that I have a lot of colors to start with. I'm going to throw that one away. That one's watery as hell. I used it a lot longer than anybody would have. I think there's another black float around here I did see. Or maybe it's actually in here. That's what it is. And I may still have yet another one. I went to grab this one and I grabbed that one. I'm like, why is it so damn watery? It's one I tried to regurgitate. It's time to throw your ass away. That's really close. That's going to be close enough for me. I try hard to stay out of Three Kingdoms mode. Once I'm in it for months. Okay, we won't talk about it then. The other thing is this color has a wash on top of it. And this does not. Had a hard time playing some of the girl characters. Because, the female characters in that time period are just... they didn't have... Well, they had power, but within the courtroom or whatever. What's the name of the one that's for Wu that has like the round boomerang things? I don't like her. She's too childish. Got a little she's like a little kid. I ain't into that. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Sun something. Played Dynasty Warriors as a kid, and once I found out about the strategy games, I moved to them. The 10th game is an RPG where you play as one character. It really had me hooked as a kid. One of them, and it may be the 10th one. It didn't come out that long ago, but maybe it did. Maybe it came out in 2008 or something like that. There's one where you could role play, and it was all China or whatever. And it had bad... All of the games don't have really good reviews. My only problem with those games is after you've played one, they're all kind of the same. Um, I've got several of the battle ones, and I've got one of them that's the strategy one, but I don't have the role playing one. I have one Empires. I don't know which one it is. I bought it like really cheap used, and I've got like Dynasty Warriors 3 and 4, I think, and like Empire 6 or something like that. But I never played the role playing one. The thing that I dislike the most about those games is those type of games are about, to me, a big part of the enjoyment is finding weapons. And the weapon systems for that game fucking sucks. And it's very similar to the Transformer game that I was commenting about earlier, like called Devastation. The weapons are almost always, it's the same thing. Like I found a 2-star laser or something like that. It's the same thing. Like it's not, that has no depth. And they might tell you, well, we did it that way on purpose. I don't know how the role-playing one is. I'd have to think that it's better, but that's definitely the downside of those games, in my opinion. The upside of them is you're playing this battle, and you're like, all right, well, we need to win over here. So let me go over there and kick ass, and so the guys can push. Or let me go over there and do something else. The other thing that's really good is the soundtrack. I love the soundtrack. Not all the songs, but many of the songs are freaking great. As a matter of fact, I inherited an old iPod. Remember those things? And I had downloaded all of the Dynasty Warriors 3 and 4 soundtracks on it. Because this was before. But now there's like a channel or whatever. They got some Asian guy that's playing them on his guitar or whatever. I don't know if this channel's still around, but, and a lot of songs kick fucking ass, I have Samurai Warriors 2 as well, which is the same thing. Except it's like techno music and it's in Japan. You'd think that's the one they'd be really into, considering that company is Japanese, not Chinese. Okay. That's probably going to need a second coat. More tea? More tea. Well, I can't stop until I get the base colors painted on the Dirty Cooter. Because that's going to need to cure so we can give them a wash. That's going to be kind of a hold-up. Got to wash the Dirty Cooter. Hey, it's a redneck. It's a redneck truck. All right. This was white and pearl, wasn't it? And it's off white. Well, we're gonna have to. It's gonna have to deal with using regular white. I don't think I'm gonna tint it any. I've got an ivory, but it isn't worth a shit. Or pale sand. Actually, let's give it a shot. Some East European countries see China as like the birthplace of their culture, so their history is interesting to them. So they see the same way we see Britain. Well, that's not my people, but, No offense, Britons. You know what I mean? They're our cousins, but not my cousin. Well, probably they see China that way because when China was in that Three Kingdoms period, or the real ancient like stuff, like everybody else was just basically like barbarians. Oh, this thing is going to be one lumpy thing. Let's see if we can do anything with this. Oh, this is going to cover like shite. It's going to take lots of coats. Let's see where the original color is. Yeah, that's, I think, close enough. I'm going to need a little bit of water in case it starts not applying smoothly. Now the good news is this is in a place where I can't really reach. So if you're wondering, well, this paint isn't going to be very durable, there's no way you're going to be touching that. Well, I think this is the right color. I still got that Asian cat truck, that lucky cat truck. Took me a long time to find that. Yeah, this is why you put a little bit of water on it so you can apply it smoothly. Okay, that looks pretty good. Honestly, the whole bed could be white. We're going to weather it anyways. Yeah, that's better. Now, see, the more things I paint on this, the better it's going to look. Because it's taken away from the multicolor aspect of this. Like when I was a kid and I had Legos, and I was the only person that had Legos when I had Legos. For whatever reason, I got Legos and I liked them. I was real particular if I built something not to use too many different colors. So I remember making battleships. And all we did with the battleships is you took flat pieces of the right width, I think like maybe 4 or maybe 6 wide. You put, so it's a bow and it's just square across, right? It's tapered. And I do my German battleship. I use all the white pieces and the red and the black for trim. And I think for the British one, I used red and blue. I want to say, but I didn't use red, blue, and yellow. No. Like you get 2 colors and that's it. You need to have 2 colors because one color it's all one big blob then, right? But if you have too many colors, it looks wrong. Just like this, when it has too many colors, it looks like it's all over the place. I'm going to go ahead and paint all of this in this color, even if I come in here and paint something a little different. Got some of their hunting lights on there. All right, man, take it easy. They don't do hunting in Britain, do they? I bet they only allow the Normans to do it. Yeah, this is going to take multiple coats. It's not a big deal. Looks infinitely better with this in this color. I just wish this wasn't so lumpy. I don't think it actually covers that badly. It just is lumpy, which means we got to add some water to it. This is an old paint color. Like, I think when I got it, it was old. It was sitting on a shelf for a long time. Sitting on a shelf at Brookhurst Hobbies. And I probably got this around 2002, something like that. Yeah, 2, 3 coats, it'll be fine. People make a big deal out of it. It doesn't cover really well. I'm like, stop being so impatient. I guess after I've tried to paint these AK colors, they're already watered down. Yeah, this is a lot easier. Yeah, see, this is only the second coat, and looking pretty good. Oh, shouldn't have done that. All right, I'm going to take a little pee break. I'll be right back. I'm even going to leave paint on it because we're literally coming right back to it. We need to paint this whole bottom where the missiles are that same color. No, it's actually not hot. Unbelievable. Meaning it's like 64. Like I was expecting it to be in the 80s. All right, so let's make sure this isn't lumpy. That'll do more damage than good. And this is also going to be in this white color. This machine gun is not, though. That 50 cal or whatever the hell it's supposed to be. Literally, this vehicle was in a junk pile. The land of unloved toys. So it's a rescue. So this particular vehicle could play on the girls' team, plus on the rednecks. And always can always be a free agent. Tell me what kind of a vehicle it is. No, there's not even a number code. Hot Wheels, 1977 pickup truck. What if it comes up on the wiki? (1977) Hot Wheels pickup truck. Let's just do a search for that. See what we get. Well, it's definitely that body. It's a Chevy, it just doesn't say what it is. Pickup truck, pink splatter. Here it is. Pink splatter. Pink splatter. By Wayman. Some of these have different wheels on them. I wish this had different wheels on it than it does, but that's kind of modern looking wheels. Looks like the wheels off the fire truck. But changing that out's a no-no. Just from the standpoint of fitting in the wheel wells. And once we're done with this, we're probably going to stop, just so we can let this dry before we go add a second and a third coat. I think 3 coats, and 3 coats and only in certain places, should do the trick. I didn't really want to get any on the missile, but okay. I'll paint this center thing in between the rockets also in white to tie it all together. Actually, I'm not done. I'm not done just yet. I'm not done just yet. I don't think I'm not done just yet. Yeah, yeah. All right, folks.